Hey everyone and welcome to the video. So I've made many videos on why Saints Row 2 is easily the best in the series. If you want a good example, why don't you watch my Saints Row 2 in 2021 video. It's pretty popular on the channel and I know people definitely enjoyed it. But today I was thinking, is Saints Row 2 not only good in 2021 or now 2022? Is it a masterpiece? Is it one of those games that come along once a generation to absolutely surprise and encourage other developers out there to make games better? Is it one of those games that gets every single consumer who played it hooked? That's what I want to discuss today. So, looking back, its map was fantastic, its customization was fantastic, its story was fantastic, its sound design was fantastic, its characters were fantastic. It's quite clear to see that Saints Row 2 really did excel when it came to like a ton of features that other games didn't have. I think a good comparison at the time would be GTA 4, and when it comes to those two games, there is no way in my mind I can see someone going, I'm going to play GTA 4 over Saints Row 2 if they have played both games. I think Saints Row 2 is really the underdog just because it got wrote off as a GTA clone, when actually I think it should have been a GTA successor. I think it should have been what took over GTA's stance as the whole I'm the best open world crime game. And maybe the future games didn't exactly follow the trend and maybe that's why Saints Row never made it big, but in my mind Saints Row 2 is undeniably the best open world crime game ever made. I think there's no denying that, at least that's how I look at it. But when it comes to, just Saints Row 2 as a whole, it's widely perceived as one of the best games of all time. Anyone who has played it loved it, and I know that it's safe to say quite a few Saints Row fans want Saints Row to go back to this era. And it's quite clear to see why. It was amazing. So, is it a masterpiece? Is it that good that I think no other game dev could make a game quite like it? Is it that unique that no other game dev could just duplicate what they made on their second attempt there? I think yes. I think when it comes to masterpiece style games, one that comes to mind is Bioshock 1. If you want a good video to watch on that, the Actman has a very good Bioshock 1 video, and he's a super cool dude, so I definitely recommend watching that. But he talks about what makes a masterpiece, and I definitely think that Saints Row 2 would fall along those lines. Now, Saints Row 2 definitely has its issues. Its PC optimization is tragic, its graphics in my mind are probably worse than the earlier game, and I think it does have a few downgrades when it comes to certain things like multiplayer. But I would say that for 95% of the game it is better than like a majority of open world crime games out there. I think looking at how widely perceived GTA is the best open world crime game, I think when you look at GTA and then you compare it to Saints Row 2, you can't help but feel, wow, GTA is kind of boring, it's kind of lackluster, it's missing everything. I mean, Saints Row went so in depth on details, it's unreal. I was tempted to make a video a while back talking about how Saints Row 2 has got so many small features that people didn't notice that I wanted to kind of show them off, and I really think that Saints Row 2 will never get the credit it deserves. You can go up to a slot machine and play like a fucking game. I forgot what game it is, but you can go and gamble in-game. And I mean, Call of Duty's only caught onto that recently with loot boxes. I mean, come on, it was ahead of its time. Like, all jokes aside, that type of depth makes the game something special. You can play a game inside of a game. That shit's cool, dog. I like that. Like, make that a thing. I want that in every game. Like, that's awesome. I mean, it's undeniable to me that that is just fucking cool as shit, and that's one of those features that you don't see in games. You don't see it that much. I mean, on top of all of that, people are still finding new cool Easter eggs now. I mean, it wasn't long ago that we found out the Easter egg for insurance fraud, where if you activated the raw taunt, clicked a couple of buttons, you got this kick-ass soundtrack in the background whilst doing it. It wasn't that long ago that we discovered that, and it's things like that that make me wonder, to this day, how much is actually hidden inside of Saints Row 2. I would love to just kind of sit down with a few friends and try and find every small detail I can, like I said beforehand, that people may have missed about the game. But yeah, in my mind, Saints Row 2 is nothing but a masterpiece. I think its characters are fantastic, its gameplay was ahead of its time, and it has got so many cool features that I, for one, just love that never came back. It's just really sad how, I don't like the term fell off, because I do think Saints Row 3 and 4 are good games. They're different, but I think they're good games. But when it comes to the actual depth of Saints Row, it's undeniable that Saints Row 3 and 4 kind of fell off in that regard. I think it kept the Saints Row formula, changed it up a bit, and made good games. I don't think they're bad games. But when it comes to the previous Saints Row 2 and Saints Row 1, the depth was lost, and I don't hate those games for that, but I can definitely just see that the earlier games were better, and Saints Row 2 in particular comes to mind. So let me know, do you think Saints Row 2 is worthy enough to be called a masterpiece? I personally do, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys.